Hey, how's it going, everyone? Back at it again with the having to test an entire new build for Zilean, considering all the changes that happened during the mid-season patch. So, after a couple of hours of just thinking to myself, I decided, okay, I think I have a handling on what I'm gonna be building. Obviously, there's some pros and cons when it comes to this kind of stuff, but I mean, with change happens, and you have to adapt, or you just get left behind in the dust. So that's what I'm gonna have to do if I'm gonna reach Masters, like I told myself a little while ago. So with that, with my one-trick pony Zilean, I'm gonna have to adapt and make sure I can keep going in this meta. So I was looking at, where is she? Obviously, the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to look into whether we're going to choose between Frost Queen's Clave or we're going to choose Talisman of Ascension for our start items. Now, Frost Queen's Clave got nerfed during the pre-patch. Its mana regen got really busted. It went, I'm pretty sure it was 150 to now 75, or it was just 100 flat to 75. But that whole region stuff got nerfed, so it was kind of just like a punch in the gut. So also on top of that, the entire effect of Athene's Unholy Grail was just completely changed. So I no longer get my whole base. I mean, I still get my mana regen, but it's still nerfed. And on top of it being nerfed, also it has a new unique passive, which grants me the whole premonition or pre-mitigation damage or whatnot, and all that kind of stuff. And pretty much none of that affects me. Mostly the part that doesn't affect me the most is that the second sentence of that effect, which says healing or shielding. As soon as you read that as a Zilean support, that item is no longer useful to you. So I read that and I said, shit, Athene's Unholy Grail is completely taken out of the equation now. This is not an item for me to be picking. Maybe if I was a Soraka or a Janna, but not a Zilean. We do not heal or we do not shield. So that got taken out of the equation. So I lost two major mana regen items. Primarily Athene's Unholy Grail, because that was the big hitter. That one gave me not only 100% mana regen plus whatever flat regen, but it also gave me a passive that said that every time I got a kill or an assist, it gave me back a huge chunk of mana, which I would burst a shit ton of mana during my mid-game fights in order to help my team, and then hopefully my team would get assists, and that's how I would keep up the whole constant stunning and constant slowing and constant stunning and constant speeding up. But now that got completely eliminated with Athene's Unholy Grail, so now that's for God knows what other supports. So I had to look into that. So that pathway, pretty much I had it. Well, no, it's not here because I'm on the 5-5 ARAM. But that build is completely destroyed. Go away. So what I've been thinking is I might still use Frost Queens. The only problem is I'm kind of worried about the. I'm not worried about the mana regen. That's whatever really. Like I can still work around it. So I'm not too worried about that. It's just the big problem is it's the whole swapping of things, and what I was thinking is Morellonomicon would fill that gap, because Morellonomicon basically took over what Athene's Unholy Grail's unique passive was, which you can see it right there. The third one being kills and assists restore 20% of your maximum mana, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Now, this doesn't give me mana regen, but it does give me 400 mana, so that's pretty cool, and it gives me way more AP. What is it? I think it's 40, this gives me 100. So we're gonna look at it like this. So that means if I were to go Frost Queen's Claim, it gives me 50 ability power, and then into an Athene's would be 40. So that would be 90 in total, right? And I would still get my 20% here, 10% here, and then 10 from Masteries and Runes. So I would still hit 40% by the time I built my second item, or my first major item, actually. So I told myself, I was like, okay, well, let's look at Morellonomicon. Obviously, I can't use this, so let's see it in Morellonomicon. Same thing, it gives me, I'll get 10% off Frost Queens, but I also get 20% off Morellonomicon, aka I get 40% CDR. Now also, the thing about Morellonomicon is also dealing damage to champions below 35% health, inflicts grievous wounds, which that's pretty cool. And also, like I said before, it gives me the passive that Athene's used to have, which I really want. The problem is, it's 2,900 gold. So it's a huge increase compared to what Athene's Unholy Grail used to be. And, the build path though isn't too bad. I actually overlooked the whole build path or whatnot, but the build path of Lost Chapter, that seems pretty useful. I think that could be pretty cool. Now another thing though is if I go Morellonomicon, it's I'll get 10 bonus AP, whether if I was to go Athene's and whatever. So I was thinking, well, let me not go Frost Queens, and I'll still be getting plus 10, because once I build Morellonomicon, I'll still have 10 more ability power than what I used to when I used to go Frost Queens and Athenes. And I would just pretty much go into Talisman of Ascension. And the reason I was thinking of going back to a Talisman of Ascension is because this makes you way tankier. The way the passive works, also, I think it gives you a lot more a lot more gold than the Frost Queens, because sometimes you get really really beat up in lane and you can't abuse the tribute or whatnot, and so like you really fall back on gold per 5. And this right here makes you a lot tankier, because first off, it gives you more mana regen, and it gives you more health regen, and also the passive favor, being near a minion death without dealing the killing blow, grants 6 gold and 10 health. So I don't gain gold per level, but I do gain a lot more gold off of and health off of minions dying next to me while in lane. So essentially, this makes you way tankier, this makes you way burstier, but that's only during the laning phase. Now, the way I've been playing recently, before the pre-mid-season patch, was I was playing him as a really bursty laner, and even before that, I played him as more of a tankier, and I would wait to make plays more into what do you call that? Wait until I got into mid game to actually start doing some crazy stuff. But man, I'm still just really wobbly within these two. But I'm guessing I'll still be building Frost Queens, because even though the mana regen on this got nerfed, now that I'm switching to Morellonomicon, I'm getting 400 mana. So me having an increased mana pool of 400, that's really helpful. So that could definitely be a benefit. And also, like I said, I've gotten so comfortable with the whole kills and assists restore 20% of your maximum mana that I'm not sure if I want to give that up. I was looking into Mikhail's Crucible as well, but I could, but at that point, like, I'm not. Ultimately, like, my bombs are just strictly used for the stun. I won't have any damage to back my abilities, which I don't really care about, but I also do kind of want AP, because the AP ratio on Chrono Shift is huge. I forget on the top of my head, but it's pretty good. I think it's 1.5, something like that. I know it's really good. So I do want AP some of the time, because I do want to increase the amount of health my allies come back with. I mean, there's no point in resing them in the middle of a fight if they're just gonna come back with like 10% health, you know, with like a, with just like Guardian's Angel does or whatnot. I'm not saying Guardian Angels is bad, but if I can make my tank come back with 70% health or my ADC with full health, then I'm definitely gonna take that instead. So, can I still buy stuff? No, it's locked out. Okay, so I definitely want AP, so I'm more than likely it's just going to be Frost Queen's Claim into Morellonomicon. Like I said, the only problem is that it's going to cost a lot more, so that's going to hurt. But, I mean, I'm forced to. I don't really see anything else here that could help me with that whole thing, because I really do need mana regen. And people say it's like, well, you can build Tear the Goddess, and that gives you mana plus mana regen. It's like, yes, that's true, but you don't get any cooldown off of it. Now I can manipulate my runes and well, just my runes really, because Masteries only give me so much, in order to give me more passive cooldown reduction. But then I lose out on some other kind of stuff, and I just don't want to sacrifice all that just to build into Rod, or not Rod, but Archangel Staff. So I'm guessing, yeah, it's just gonna be Morellonomicon. So that's pretty much what it's going to go down to. It's like, plus again, like I said, this has lower mana regen, and Morellonomicon gives me to where I can also put Grievous Wounds on people, and that's pretty helpful, especially with the changes to Grievous Wounds. That I actually forgot that that's going to be another bonus for the for me building Morellonomicon. Is before, Grievous Wounds were really terrible because they changed it to where it only affects self-healing, which is really stupid. Like, at that point I was just like, well, what's the point of this fucking mechanic to begin with? But they changed it back to where it affects all healing. So Grievous Wounds is going to be very, very helpful. So I actually overlooked that, and that's actually going to be pretty good. So from the looks of it, it's just all this brainstorming and all that kind of stuff, I'm definitely going to be building into a Morellonomicon. So I'll be updating my guide and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully I can, while reading more of the items, while building the guide, maybe I might be able to find something different. But from the looks of it, that's what it's going to have to be. There's no really major changes besides the main core AP item during the mid game, which before was the Themes, and now more than likely it's going to be Morellonomicon. And this is just my personal build. I like to build Zilean as a 40% CDR spammer when it comes to mid game. There are other people who play Zilean as just a huge nuke that just go for the delayed bombs or whatnot by not building much AP, just building a bunch of or not building a bunch of cooldown, just building a bunch of AP and going for a huge nuke on their bombs. But I don't like to play that way. I like to throw a bunch of bombs in succession. Even though they have low damage, it doesn't really matter. I want to keep slowing and speeding up people and spamming stun as much as possible. So if you don't agree with my build path, it's probably because you're one of those Zileans that likes to build as a big beefy mage. Which, you know, that's not wrong, but it's just not the way I like to play it. So, with all the brainstorming and that kind of stuff, that's what it's going to have to be like. I know for a lot of people this is really useless information unless you yourself play a Zilean, but this is yeah, just an update to the guys who do follow me for Zilean and whatnot, and do take my advice when playing their games. So so yeah, if you guys having trouble finding something to change because you were following my build, this is an update to that. So we're basically going to be going into we're still going to be building Frostwinds, more than likely, and we're going to be going into Morellonomicon. Obviously, since we're playing support, I'm not sure if you guys are playing at mid, but please, if you do play him differently, just know that I am building him as a support mage, not as a mid laner. So if you follow my build, it is going to be for support, and as supports, we always build Sight Ward. So before building into anything else, please remember to buy your Sight Ward. And so that's going to be it for this update. I'm going to practice this build more into ranked. I'm going to try and, right now my LP decayed from taking a break, so I'm back into plat. So I'm going to try and get back into diamond and hopefully make some highlight reels for you guys. I'll also be coming out with more full game commentaries once I actually break into Diamond and check my MMR and make sure that it's not still in Plat, because at that point then it's really, I kind of want Diamond games to comment on instead of Plat. So yeah, that's it for now, and see you guys later. Thanks for watching.